Hey everybody in YouTube, it's Garrett. Today, let me get out the light a little bit better. Today's course of action is I'm going to be taking the injectors and injector pump off of my Allis-Chalmers 200. It's been running like crap. I'll probably post a clip of that. I'll throw a clip of that in here as well to show you what it was running like. It just runs like complete dog crap. Running like crap. It sat for probably 5 or 6 years, did nothing, and I think what happened is a bunch of stuff, the stuff that was in the fuel settled out, got bad, went to the bottom of the tank, and then when I ran it the next time, it sucked it into the pump and the injectors, and it just started running like crap after that, and I wasn't able to really, I tried changing the filters, changed all the fuel, it's got fresh fuel, fresh filters, all that stuff on it, and she's just not real kosher still, so got my helper. Hopefully he stays out of the mud and out of trouble, right? I'll show you the damage we got to do here. Me and my father-in-law, we pulled off the hoods. They're over there on that little trailer to get a little bit more access here. But here's the injectors. We've got all these here. And a lot easier to get these injectors off. 2 bolts, return line, feed line. Those aren't real bad. This is where she gets kind of to be a pain in the butt because you've got the top nut, there's a bottom nut somewhere here. Oh, wait a minute. Is this a 2-bolter? This might be 2-bolter. I gotta stick my finger in there. Got 1 bolt on the bottom, 1 bolt on the top, and I can't see. I might be lucky because a lot of these had 3. There was a bolt like here, like 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, or somewhere in that general vicinity, and there was good luck getting that back bolt out. It wasn't happening. But yep, goal today, pump off, injectors out, and we'll go from there. Also, if you're working on stuff like this, whether it's in a lighted shop or in my case, a very not lighted shop, I mean, you can see okay right now just because the phone, does okay with justice. Like, I can actually see pretty good with the phone. But get yourself a nice headlight. Makes a world of difference. Makes an absolute world of difference. So, that's my token 2 cents. So, first thing on the order of business is I'm probably going to start off by taking the return line off. And on this one, it's actually really simple. Ooh, I gotta adjust where I'm holding my phone here. Gonna take off, honestly, I'll probably just take off or loosen up this guy. And then every single one of the injectors has that, which I do believe on this one is, that looks like a 9/16, maybe a 5/8. And there's one that goes on the cap of every single one of the injectors. And this rack here will come off. I'll take off this part of the return line. This return line just goes right back to the fuel tank, follows underneath the steps and goes back under the fuel tank. But take off the return line, get that kind of pulled out of the way. I'll probably either pull it off to the side on this side or maybe even drape it over the other side of the head. Well, it looks like that injector was leaking pretty good, actually. Some of this leaky stuff that you see here might have actually been when I was trying to bleed out the injectors, repriming everything, because when you run it out of fuel for whatever reason, or you reprime your fuel filters, you got to get the air out of the lines, and you got cracked. So there's probably all sorts of gobbledygook all over the place. But that's going to be the first line of attack in regards to that. Once I get the return lines off, I'll take off these. I'll take off my feed lines. That's real easy. That's a 3/4 inch wrench. Loosen them up, pop them back. I'm not going to take the whole apparatus out, which I really hope I won't have to. There's one spot that kind of has me concerned right here. Where's my phone? Where's my phone lining up? You're not going to be able to see it very good, actually. You can see where some of these lines were already JB welded at one point, which I'm not crazy about. What happens is they just rub together from vibration over the years. And there's one spot that you can almost see. Right there. Right. Where's my finger? Where's my finger? Where's my finger? Right up in there. So there's this line here, and it's the line right behind it. Back in here. That's like daggum more right through. And I really... These freaking injector lines are awful to get out. You almost have to pull off the dang water jacket here. This water, because all this is just the water line that goes through the block and then through the head and stuff, goes up to the water pump. You almost got to pull that whole sucker out of there just to get the injector lines out. And then same thing, you almost got to pull the manifold to do it too. Don't want to have to do that. But, yep, so got your return line, feed line, 2 bolts, those pop out. Once I get the injectors out, I will go from there. All right, I've got the return lines. Got the return lines off, the feed lines off, and I've got all of the hold down bolts. There's 2 half-inch wrench, whatever that is, bolts, half-inch wrench, holding those guys into the head. What I've got, and this is probably not the right way to do it, but this is the way Garrett's doing it. There's a lip. If you look really careful, where it actually goes down into the head there, there's actually a lip, a collar more or less, all the way around the actual base of the injector. And I'm going to put my pry bar on that and just give it a little bit of upward pressure. Most of the time, these are going to come out fairly decent, and at least in my experience, with the 200, with the 180, Oliver injectors, the pencil type injectors. Most of the time, they don't give me too many fits, but every once in a while, you'll come across a motor, especially if it hasn't, if the injectors have never been done or nothing's ever been pulled out of the head in, 50 years or something like that, they might give you a hard time. Just be patient. Don't break off the ears. Be careful. Don't jack up the threads. That's why I pointed this out here. Make sure you're going on that lip underneath and not on the actual threads of the thing itself, because I have jacked those up before. And that's a big no-no. You end up getting a whole new injector. So that's that. I'll actually see if I can get a little bit of upward pressure here. I didn't loosen the bolts all the way out, but I'm just gonna give it a little tug upwards. Feels like she's gonna come. So, and a little, yep, there she goes. There's a copper ring inside there that's gotta come out too. Sometimes you gotta take a punch, or not a punch, a pick, and get those out. But I'll get this out here real quick, get these bolts out, and just pull the whole injector out so we can see it. I'll just set this off to the side for this second. And like I said, I'm mildly novice at this. I've had this head off a dozen times over the years. Oh, yeah, I should have probably pointed that out. There's actually a little rubber ring that goes around the bottom of that where I just put that pry bar. Most of the time, everything just deteriorates anyway. Okay, so there's that little copper ring. Focus camera. There's that little copper ring that goes on there. That's a crush washer. You get new ones most of the time when you get a new kit, you get new crush washers that go in there. And from the looks of it, come on, focus, bud. Yeah, she's pretty nastied up. I'll do a quick little redneck test where I'll take and where's the injector line? Rehook the injector line back on here. It's not a good way of doing it, but at least when you go to turn it over, you'll see if you got a little bit of a spray pattern going on, and you'll kind of get an idea how bad the injectors are. But I'll get everything out and rehook back up and go from there. I'll get these all pulled out. All right, I got all the injectors out, and what I'm going to do now is, actually, I think, John Boy, you're going to have to hold the phone. Put that down, dude. This is John Boy. Get up.
That's follow my feet. I can't get up. Oh, there.
All right, so just try to keep your feet in one spot because I got a lot of stuff up there. And when I tell you to, I'll just have you push the button. because I got to hold the camera and I got to hold the safety switch. And it is out of gear, I think. Yep, it's out of gear. That's important. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have John Boy turn over the motor, and I'm going to see how much fuel is coming out of each of these injectors. And, you know, just to see, okay, which ones are firing over good, which ones are not shooting out any fuel, so I can determine whether it's the injectors or the pump. So I'll hit it, John. The button, just the button. Actually, hold on, make sure the key's on. Key's on. Okay, yep. Hold on a sec. Let me find my. There's a safety switch for the clutch that I gotta hit. All right, go ahead. Yep. So I got.
Yeah, start.
All right, hit it again. Keep going, hold it. Okay, got one's good. Hit it again. Fuel there.
Not gonna start.
I know it's not gonna start because I don't have injectors in it. Hit it again. That one's a little pissy. Try that. Number 4 is really weak. All right, hit it. 5's kind of. Okay, that's good. All right, hit it. Yeah, there's nothing there. Oh, because I'm an idiot.
What?
Forgot to turn the fuel back on. All right, now.
What?
Now let's try it. That's good. So, I just did one injector. Oh, I bet you my camera lens is awful dirty. Awful dirty. Oh, it's terrible. Well, hopefully it's not ugly. Well, what I did was I just did the one injector, and I got thinking, I'm kind of in a time crunch for tonight because I want to try to get this done before dinner. I'll let him screw with the injectors and make sure they're all good. The one that I did test actually didn't look bad. She had a 4-nozzle pattern, which is good. It wasn't a fog like I wanted it to be, which it could have been. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off the injector pump. I'm going to get the motor timed out the way I need it to, because that's important. I'm going to walk you through that one. All six injector lines are spitting fuel. They probably aren't spitting as much fuel as they really should be at the pressure that they should be, which is probably part of the reason why the injector pattern isn't really great. It should be spitting like straight up fog. It should be a nice, good looking like a mist almost. It should be misting it and fogging it to make good combustion, which it's not. So I'll get the pump timed to where it should be. There is a cover here, right here, super important. There's a timing mark under this cover, which I will show you, and I'm going to get that timing mark lined up, and I'm also going to scribe a line on the pump here and on the housing here. So, because you can also adjust the timing of the pump itself by rotating the pump for quick and easy startup. So I'll get that marked up. I'll get that timing mark lined up first, and I'm also going to check and make sure it's top dead center on number 1. That's the best way to do it, because the way this pump is set up, it's actually got just a slot, like a big slot. There is dots on that slot most of the time, and I'll show you when I get that torn apart. But if you get it to top dead center and you get your timing mark set up and you orient your thing and you can tell your pump guy, okay, I want it at top dead center number 1, you can't get it 180 degrees backwards. I have put these pumps in before 180 degrees backwards, and that kind of screwed me up. So, and then I wondered why it wouldn't start. And then I tore it back apart and then did it the right way again. So with that said, I'm going to get her timed up, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Well, oh golly, I need to do a better job at this. Okay, so if you look in there, if I get my head right, that's the timing mark. The one on the left stays stationary. The one on the left over here stays stationary. This one rotates with the pump. If you see, oh, let me go together. See, went up. For some injectors, the hole is big enough to where you can actually look all the way down in there. It's kind of like a spark plug hole. But this one, with the way the angle is in the exhaust, I can't look down there very well. So it's timed. I'm going to take and I'm going to scribe a mark on this part and this part, so I know, you know, into the paint there and into the aluminum on the housing here. And what that's going to do is that'll give me a really good reference point when I go to throw everything back together, that this is how the pump should be clocked. Because if you look here, there's slots. There's slots here, and that allows you to loosen up the pump here when you're putting it back on, and you can actually twist your pump back and forth to adjust your timing as you're starting it, or say you're running a little bit of an advance, more of an advance than what the actual hydraulic advance will give you and stuff like that. It gives you some playability within your pump. Well, when you're putting it on, if it's not clocked just right, there's a chance that she won't even start good, and it's a pain in the butt. Ask me how I know. But with that said, I'm going to scribe that, and then I'm going to start taking the rest of these fittings apart here and go from there. All right. Well, I've got all of my injector lines are off. They're just kind of flopping around right now. Got my main supply line right here. I just kind of flipped it up out of the way. Got the main supply line taken off. I've got to take off this back here still, my return line up here. I'm just going to leave that on there for now. Because my return line was just kind of shoved in there. I'm not crazy about that. But this right here is my throttle cable, which I think, or it's not a cable, it's a rod, more or less. And I think, from just looking at this, I think it's just a really bad cotter pin in here that I might be able to just shove out of there. Let me see. Oh, yep, it is. Just a little chunk of wire. So I'll put a fresh cotter pin in that when I get the pump back. So I'll just kind of push that back out of the way. That's out of the way. That's removed. These are off. The only thing that's left to do, that nut and that nut, which is really nice because it's only 2 and it's at 12 and 6 o'clock. I hate the ones that are held on by 3 and 4. Those are freaking terrible. I'll get these loosened up and I'll show you the process of pulling the pump off, because there's actually a couple of gaskets that you need to be careful about and making sure none of the rubber ends up in places it doesn't need to be. All right, got the 2 nuts taken off, and I'm just going to very slowly and very carefully, with one hand here, weasel this pump out, and then I'll show you as you look. You'll see on that shaft 2 of those O-rings. They're a funky special O-ring. You'll get new ones when you get the new pump, and they're a fun thing to put on because you gotta have a special tool collar thingy. It's kind of like almost like a ring compressor, a specialty ring compressor that compresses those so you can push them on without jacking the O-rings up. And what those do is they keep the oil from coming in from the engine, because this is the timing gear and that just goes right into the crankcase, the gear for like the cam gear and stuff. And this is all full of diesel, so it keeps diesel from going into the oil and oil from going into the diesel. So that's what that's for. I'm going to use 2 hands and get this sucker pulled out of here now. So, fun little tidbit I'm going to show you too, in order to help you in regards to retiming your engine so you don't get it 180 degrees backwards like I did on one of the last ones that I did this on. Let's see if I can get my head. If you look right up towards the top at that, there's a square, like a rectangular slot there. That rectangular slot is actually what drives this injector pump. And if you look at the top of that injector slot, there's a dot there. And sometimes, I can't tell really right off, but sometimes there's a number stamped into it too. That's kind of irrelevant, but that dot is what we're looking for. So that dot actually corresponds with the dot on this shaft. You can kind of see that stamping number there. So if you put both of those dots up, you can't get it 180 degrees backwards. I didn't know that the last time I did this on the 180, that one. And I put the pump 180 degrees backwards and wondered why the hell I had issues. Another dumb move that I did when I did all of this was always pull the battery out, unhook the battery. Always make sure that there is no way to turn this engine over, because that will screw up the timing as well. It's so much simpler if the motor, when you pull that injector pump out, that it's timed, the motor is top dead center, it stays in time, you don't screw it up. Just like with anything else. If you pull the distributor out, make sure you know where top dead center is so you don't have to find it again later. Another fun tidbit, and this is just something we did. These washers here, we ground a flat spot off of them so they orient in this little like nook here on the pump, because a normal washer won't fit in there. You got to grind a flat spot off so they'll fit in there when you go to put it back on. But I'm going to put these back on where they go and go from there. Put these back on, put the nuts back on where they go so we don't lose them. And I successfully have the injector pump taken off of this tractor, and I'm going to go send it out and have it for a rebuild and the injectors rebuilt and have everything reset. So I have a good running tractor again. But this crap right here is the reason why I'm thinking that it caused me issues. Just cruddy fuel, water in the tank that got all yucked up, and it got sucked into the pump. I've changed the filters twice and drained the tank once, and it's still trying to suck up stuff. So every time I'm just going to dump out the water separator and hope for the best when I get it, and it hopefully shouldn't get anything in through that filter into the pump. But with that, guys, that is part one of me redoing the injector pump and everything on the 200. Hopefully next time you see me doing the injector pump, I'm putting it all back on together, and it will be running good for you guys and me, because I'm the one that actually has to use it. So with that, thanks, and we'll catch you in the next one.